Do it once again. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The Gibson Girl. Entering into the 19th and early 20th centuries in the United States, the Gibson Girls was the first personification of feminine ideal physical attractiveness, as portrayed by the pen and ink illustrations of artist Charles Dana Gibson during a 20-year period. During around that time in Europe, we have Art Nouveau with Slavic artist Alfonso Mucha, whose muse, the Parisian actress Sarah Bernhardt, was the single most influential figure in Mucha's life as an artist. And it was his first poster for her Gizmonda that made him famous. I also wanted to add, Alfonso Mucha had an insane international influence during this time. He designed the currency, art, and culture for the city of Prague, and after his time, he greatly influenced art, music, and culture yet again, decades later, with artists deriving influence from his work to symbolize the new times of freedom and change. He's also known for painting the impression of movement and women's figure as well. Next, we have Pinup bursting onto the scene, and a pinup is a model who's been mass-produced. Pictures are meant for widespread appeal as a part of popular culture. Pinup models were variously glamour, fashion, fetish, or actresses. Pinups are intended for informal display, meant to be pinned up on a wall, which is the basis and etymology of the phrase pinup. A favorite icon of mine during this time, hands down, is John Willie, editor, photographer, and illustrator of Bazaar magazine in the 1940s. He was America and Canada's first fetish erotic magazine, and Bazaar was known for their groundbreaking and gender-bending fetish fantasies. They were the first sophisticated bondage magazine to display lesbian, male, and transsex transgender. Very groundbreaking for the time. His work was greatly inspired by Charles Goyette, American fetish style pioneer who dressed Betty Page, bringing us the iconic fetish fantasy poses pinups models alike still covet today. And say pinup is a sign of seduction, surrender, dominance, or strength. But we will pick back up into the art of pose and fashion in my next video. Next iconic pose brings us to Rosie the Riveter. She's a media icon associated with female defense workers during World War II and also during the 1940s. Rosie the Riveter has stood as a symbol for women in the workforce and for women's independence. We posed in the 1960s for justice and to fight oppression, like during the 1960s Black Power movement. The Raise Fist logo represents unity, solidarity, and generally is tied to oppressed peoples. But anyway, Black Fist, also known as the Black Power Fist, is a logo associated with Black pride, defiance, solidarity, and socialism. Fight the power. Now, to conclude this journey through pose herstory, how do we pose today and why? In today's world, we have the internet, and everyone faces this question. We even have the dead man's pose for all you yogis and or punks. We also now, thanks to our phones, document and take photos of nearly anything we want. Sometimes too much, posing however we want for whatever reason. But to sum it up simply, we now pose for ourselves, of course, and the same reasons we posed for before. Do I have your attention? Just kidding. I really love Lucinda Rowland Barth's summary in camera of why we pose today. And she outlines how posing for the camera is a performative act in which one lends oneself to the social game. Therefore, I pose. I know I am posing. I want you to know that I am posing. But, to square that circle, the additional message must in no way alter the precious essence of my individuality. The pose and act or action of posing may be considered in terms of structures of feeling, which a feeling is both a product of and as a product in social, historical, cultural, and individual contexts. The agree and feel modeling is broken down structures of feeling, and more simply put, an expressed feeling. And that feeling for me is exhilaration.
Our challenge is complete. Judges score.
You can reference my Art of Pose bio and digital flipbook, available now on Patreon. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment, and thanks so much for hanging out with us, and I'll see you kittens in outer space.
10, 10, 10. Do it once again. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.